Hello everybody and welcome to our video about the Kildare branch Down Syndrome Ireland and 36 years of supporting people with Down syndrome and their families in the Kildare West Wicklow area. Today we are videoing from our site on the ETB campus at Piper's Hill. From this base we deliver early development, speech and language therapy, adult education literacy classes, touch, type, read and spell computer classes. Our office is also here at the base and we deliver all our committee activities from here. I often think as a parent that raising a child with Down syndrome is far more like a marathon than a sprint. Your lives and their lives are inextricably linked. That journey will take you down roads and into worlds that you would never have gone, and you have to make the best of that. Even our branch today is a group of friends and people and experiences that we would have never had except for the fact that we have a child with Down syndrome.
The Kildare branch of Down Syndrome Ireland is run by committees of volunteer parents who have passed on the baton to new committees down through the years. The Kildare branch currently has over 215 member families based in Kildare and West Wicklow. So where did it all begin? The Kildare branch was founded in 1985 by some very courageous and forward-thinking parents. Meetings began in 1985 and Kildare's first AGM was held in January 1986. May Gannon was elected chairperson, Kathleen Murphy secretary and Justin Murphy treasurer. Kathleen and Justin have been looking back on the early days of the Kildare branch of Down Syndrome Ireland.
In 1984 my son Brian was born and there was no Down Syndrome Association. So in 1985 I decided to put a notice in the paper to see how many parents would be interested. As a result, we had a meeting and 15 people turned up. From there, anytime we had a meeting, it had to be notified by postcard because we didn't have emails or Facebook or any of those things.
At our first meeting, we got some assistance from the Kildare branch or from the Dublin branch, and they kind of set us up on how to run it. And we had a meeting every month. And we brought along some expert in some field or other of special needs, and it was very helpful to the parents, especially young parents who were experiencing difficulties for the first time.
In mainstream school, there was no such thing as SNAs. I was Brian's SNA. I had to go into the school morning and evening to help out the teacher, because the Department of Education resisted anything to do with SNAs or anything because they didn't want the expense, I suppose, of doing it.
Kildare was the first branch to introduce what we called then a resource teacher, and we funded privately by hard work and fundraising, and we hired a special needs assistants, as they're called now, who travelled around to 3 different schools in Kildare, which meant that each child only got a couple of hours, not like what they get now with the SNA sitting with them in the class.
As I said earlier, there was a lot of resistance from the Department of Education. We had lots of meetings with them, but they did not want to know about it because I'm sure they didn't want the floodgates to open for expense for SNAs in the classrooms.
We were disappointed with this because we thought we had proved our point with our own private resource teacher that it worked, and we had proof from some of the principals in the schools that it would work if they had somebody in the class. They could then bring the child along to the maximum of their ability with that extra help. And it may be hard for young parents to believe now, but in 2022 we now have thousands of SNAs all over the country. And that, in part, was thanks to the Kildare branch's pilot scheme.
Becoming a parent can be a daunting experience, and becoming a parent of a child with Down syndrome can be even more overwhelming. The life you thought you were going to spend with your child is changed with that one sentence. Whether it's pre or postnatal diagnosis, this news can be difficult to hear. And that's why ParentLink is such an important part of our branch. We have 2 parents trained by Down Syndrome Ireland to speak to parents on their experience and how they are feeling. In 2018, we ran a new Parents' Day for parents of children under 2 years. This brought parents together and allowed them to share their experience. We had speakers on health, mental well-being, sibling experience, and speech therapy. We plan to run one of these groups again soon, as many babies have been born over the last 2 years. We sent out baskets over lockdown to these families to let them know we're thinking of them, and many have since joined our early development group. To tell us about her experience of the early development group with her daughter Caoimhe is Aoife.
Thanks, Cassandra. So we started attending the early developmental group with Kildare Down syndrome when my daughter Caoimhe was about 5 months old. We had a postnatal diagnosis of Down syndrome. This created a lot of fear in my mind. It threw us into a world that was unfamiliar. There was a lot of health concerns thrown at us. My maternity leave was spent dealing with NG tubes, CPAP, and multiple hospital admissions, early intervention appointments. I longed for the normality that I had with my older sons, breastfeeding, meeting other parents, and showing off my precious bundle of joy. I was drowning with all of my emotions. I decided to join the Kildare Down syndrome group. I remember the first day I joined, the fear of the unknown. Once I entered that room, I was going to have to admit that yes, my daughter did have Down syndrome, and that meeting all the other parents who had Down syndrome as well. It was a massive step, but I can honestly say that it was one of the best things I've done. The support that I got from joining the group was phenomenal. I could listen to their stories and I could tell my story. I was able to realise that how I felt, it was okay to feel that way. Initially, in those first few months, joining the group was more about me than it was about Caoimhe. I needed the support of other parents. I looked forward to attending on a Thursday morning for our chats. Over time, I got to see Caoimhe grow and join in circle time. This is where she started doing her love and tabletop activities. We have now graduated onto our Friday group, where Caoimhe gets to stay with the volunteers and the tutors, and myself and the other parents get to go and maybe grab a cup of coffee or go for a walk or have a chat. Other parents that happen to have a child with Down syndrome. So I would encourage any parents out there to join the early developmental group for this fantastic support.
Hi, my name is Anna Louise and I'm one of 3 speech and language therapists employed by the Kildare branch of Down Syndrome Ireland on a part-time basis. We're based here in Leixlip and also over in Naas in the Pipers Hill complex. Yeah. So at the moment we're seeing 54 members of the branch, and we'd also have a waiting list. Now the branch partially subsidises the speech and language therapy sessions, and we'd see everyone from the smallest babies under a year of age, preschoolers, school-aged children, school leavers and adults into their 20s, 30s and 40s. Now with our youngest members, what we work on first is establishing a good communication system. The little ones would all be using LAV at this stage, and LAV is an adapted version of the Irish Sign Language, specifically for children and adults with a learning disability. So our job in the clinic is not only to work with the children to teach them LAV, but also work with the adults, the preschool and all the other people in that child's life, so they're not just using LAV in isolation when they come and see us. At the same time, we'd be working on a child's receptive language, that is their understanding of language and instructions. And this is so that the child can follow directions when they're in school, at home, in extracurricular activities, and as the child gets older, they'd be also able to follow instructions in adulthood, in work, and in their daycare setting and college. Also at the same time, we'd be working on trying to improve the child's spoken language. That is their selection of words and putting them into a sentence to convey a meaning. With nearly all of our children, speech is also a big area, and that would play a big part in our day-to-day and week-to-week therapy sessions. Now, as the child gets older, we'd continue to work on love if that remains their main method of communication, or we'd continue to work on their spoken language, or we'd be combining the two. Now, for some of our children and adults, they don't use speech to communicate. They might use love or a different method of communication. For example, an app such as this. So again, we'd work on setting that up for that particular child or adult, help the person to learn it and help those in the environment around them to adapt it to suit their needs and to encourage the person to use it on a day-to-day basis. For our adults, it's all about promoting the skills that they need for everyday life. This might be out in the community, going for coffee, going to a restaurant, doing the shopping, or it could be in their day setting, in college, to help them at home, or to help them in their jobs, to follow directions that the people in charge and their managers might be giving them. Being able to communicate is such an important aspect in everybody's lives. That's why it's so important that our members with Down syndrome have access to regular, ongoing speech and language therapy.
Lucy has been receiving speech and language therapy from DSI Kildare since she was 1 year old, and she has always enjoyed and looked forward to it. The enjoyment is really important to us and shows how making the lessons fun improves her involvement and ultimately increases her learning. Speech and language therapy has made a huge difference in our family life. Not only has it directly helped our daughter, it has also given the whole family the communication skills needed to develop her speech. The work is tailored to Lucy's current and future needs, and it is only with the experience the therapists have with pupils with Down syndrome that make this possible. Since Lucy has started school, each year the therapist has gone into the class and spoken to the teaching staff. This has allowed all of Lucy's learning to be directed clearly towards the same goals, focusing on the right things at the right times. Its importance cannot be overstated. The communication skills we learn as a family from our therapist is unquantifiable. It gives our learning direction and keeps Lucy's speech goals on track. We would like to thank Kildare Down Syndrome for all the help and support they provide.
When our children start school, they leave the early development group, having formed friendships and learned new skills. This goes for the parents too. School age can be a busy time for our parents and children, but it is important to maintain the connections they have made. That's why we have started a monthly group where we meet up and children can play together and parents can talk and problem solve through their shared experiences. We also have group sessions that we hope to get running again soon, like swimming and TTRS. Touch Type Read Spell is an important tool for our children and teens. As our children transition into secondary school, it can be a big change from a small local school where everyone knows your child to something very different with new faces, new classrooms and new rules. That's why our transitioning information nights can help you prepare your child for moving into secondary school. Some children at this stage might change to a special school, and some children might continue their education in a special school. It's important to keep an open mind about this. At some point, all children may face challenges. The Kildare branch runs behavioural talks and talks on sexual health and relationships. This helps parents to find out what to expect and coping strategies on how to deal with these new feelings and behaviours. For our secondary school students, we have the Teen Youth Club and other activities which helps our students maintain their friendships while keeping active.
Hello everyone, we're filming here today from our horticulture site in Sallins. This site opened in September 2019. It opened in a response from our adult members for something meaningful to do after they've left school. It has been a very popular project and it meets many needs. For some of our school leavers leaving school, it's about learning a new skill in horticulture. For many of our older people, it's about maintaining those skills and about having meaningful engagement with their peers and with their community. This site here in Sallins is ideal for all of those things because our people are very much involved in the local community, taking part in many projects out in the community. They also have the great benefit that this site here is so well served by buses and trains, and many of them travel independently to the site here in Sallins, which is a huge benefit to them. We have since opened a second site out in Dundee just in September gone by, and it too has become very popular. It offers different types of experiences too, because we have some hens and ducks and different things out there. All of this has been hugely impacted by COVID, but because it's an outside site, we have been able to manage to keep our people coming to our sites here in the horticulture project.
It is wonderful to see how all the students have progressed throughout the years. As you can see, they're working busily here in the background. We're in Christmas mode at the moment, so we're getting all our Christmas pots and flowers all sorted for the Christmas season. We're here every Tuesday and Thursday. Each student has their own role. We go to our local shop to get the milk in the mornings for our breaks. We do local jobs around the community. And every student have developed their skills immensely over the last couple of years.
Everyone here makes a real contribution to everything that goes on. Their personalities, their strengths just shine through. We do get the work done, but we have a lot of fun doing it. Don't we, lads?
Yeah.
TTRS, Touch, Type, Read and Spell. This is a typing programme used to build literacy skills and increase confidence and self-esteem in our students. Currently, our members in both primary and secondary school can avail of this, and our students in adult ed also have access. The programme is designed to encourage success from the start. The programme is very suitable for our students as it works on an individual basis, which means all our students can learn at their own pace. It is also a social outlet for students where outside of COVID restrictions they can meet up and chat to each other.
We're filming here today in our second horticulture site in Dundee. It's the 1st of December and it's fairly cold, but we are in great form and we're preparing for Christmas. And today the guys are making Christmas logs, and we're also decorating our Christmas tree, and so they're all in great form. This site here offers different opportunities than the one in Sallins, in that we have some hens and ducks, and the guys love interacting with them.
Hello, my name is Niamh. I teach the adult literacy course. I teach Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays. Every day we start with the morning log, then we would do a money or time activity. After break we learn about the topic of the week, so we would do a comprehension and a poster on that topic. And then after lunchtime we have our quizzes, so we would do a general knowledge quiz, an alphabet quiz, and the good news story of the week. And then we end the day with the hot seat, where we all share our own good news stories.
As we come to the end of this video, we reflect on how far we've come. This progress has not been accidental, and it's definitely not something that we can take for granted. This progress has been as a result of hard work, bravery and huge generosity in the giving of time, talents and energy by so many people. But the reality is that in order to continue this progress, we need you, our members, to take up that baton and continue that generosity of time and that commitment to our members. We need a society that's inclusive and values our members with Down syndrome and the contribution that they can make. We need a corporate sector that values and supports our members with Down syndrome and our branch that enhance the lives of our people in all the work we do. They say it takes a village to raise a child. We are that village for people with Down syndrome. Nobody can do everything, nor is it fair to expect them to do, but we all can play our part in being the change that we want to see for our loved ones with Down syndrome in this world.